You know, I'll tell you, quite possibly the most frustrating thing about getting older is how you will be sitting around at 8:30, 9 o'clock, and going, "Oh, it's not. I got to stream in a couple hours. That's not a big deal." And then around 10:30, your body starts going, "Oh no, it is a big deal. You got to go to bed like soon. It's like it's really important. You need some sleep, man." I'm like, "I can't. I gotta stream." And my body's like, "I don't fucking care. The hell's a stream?" It doesn't know what streaming is. It doesn't know what any of this shit is. It doesn't know what the hell's going on. So I am really, really tired, and I'm trying to get myself hyped up and be like, interesting and engaging and actually somebody worth watching on this fucking stream, which I didn't do a very good job of last week either. But I don't know. I kind of mentioned that I'm in something of an existential crisis around what I'm doing and what I need to do next. I mean, I got this game I'm working on, and I got all these graphics I need to do for the game, and it's kind of fucking overwhelming. And I have to remind myself that I've already done a couple hundred graphics for the game. And I only need to do like a couple hundred more. I'm more than halfway done. But man, it doesn't feel like I'm almost halfway done. It really doesn't. And anyway, let me get the stream started over here on the Discord server, because you're watching this over on the you're watching this on YouTube. So do the little YouTube dance, like, comment, subscribe, all of that happy horse shit that everybody always tells you to do. You know, if you like this sort of thing, this is the kind of sort of thing you're interested in. I don't know. I'm just gonna kind of randomly talk about shit. One of the things that I've been thinking about lately, I've been doing a lot of. I have been doing a whole lot of looking at various surrealist and dark painters. And it's like I've been looking at Edvard Munch is who I was looking at most recently, and let me just kind of lay something out here. I've been working in kind of a painter style rather than a drawing style. And I don't know how well that's working. But it's like it's a thing that I've been doing. And I had this kind of image come into my head where I was just like, kind of thought of a collection of buildings. It's like by the side of the road. Like just random sort of city buildings, like really skyscrapers, but tall buildings, apartment buildings. You know? I just had this kind of thought in my head that you could have this row of buildings and just kind of roughing in everything at a surface level. We just kind of rough these in here. Just go, this is sort of the street going off to the side. And then on the sides, you got these alleys that go behind the wall. Alleys are just kind of back window. Then, of course, you got the sides of the buildings. And then in between the buildings, you got these sort of dark alleyways, whatnot. There's a painting Munch did called Anxiety that kind of struck me because it had a crowd, and the crowd looked kind of creepy and fucked up. And I was just thinking that, like, when you're in a city, and it's just a very sort of impersonal place. I think I want more space in between. I want another building here. Put just the edge of it. Rough that in. And here's another building over here. And I was just kind of thinking that when you're in a city and it's kind of a kind of an impersonal kind of when you're in a city and it's sort of impersonal, you've got like it's kind of nighttime and you've got several of the windows are dark, but you've also got a couple of windows that have light coming in. Kind of sort of creepy, semi-abandoned. So like there's some lights on some places. Most of the places you don't have any. One of the things I thought was important in this was there are no doors. And when you're in this kind of impersonal situation like this, you expect to be kind of ignored by everybody. You don't expect anyone to like look at you, take notice of you. It's just the nature of things that expect people not to take notice of you. That's sort of this idea of a sort of iconified figure. Just it's indistinct. And obviously this is just rough. I'm not really trying to do anything serious here, but and like speak blank and distinct. And obviously I'd want to have more definition. Had several sort of iconographic people who consist of primarily just a large diamond shaped kind dark. This is sort of a diamond shape for the body, kind of wide shoulders and then narrowing down as if its hands are sort of in front of it, like they're poised to do something. You're not sure what. And then that's like the same shape base. I wanted that to be kind of indistinct. I wanted the people to kind of be staggered distance, so we'd have like say some are closer in. But just they're all looking at you. So it's kind of like you've got this impersonal, uninviting area where clearly there are people around, but the people inside the buildings are sort of just occupied with their own stuff, and then this crowd is just like they're staring at you, as though you have just done something. And I feel like they need to have eyes, and there needs to be more detail, and there need to be more of them. But it's just kind of this idea that I had where you'd sort of have these buildings lining the street, and then in front of the building would just be this kind of crowd of people, and the people are very intent on you and looking at you. And in this kind of unfamiliar urban setting, that's kind of not normal. That's not a sort of thing that you would expect. I think that taps into a lot of people's fears and concerns. I got a friend of mine who's been on Twitter and talking about her body image issues, how she's trying to, and she's talked about just like how the way people look at her makes her think that they think things. Because they'll look at her and she'll like trace their gaze and see what they're looking at, and she'll think, oh, when they look at that part of me, they must think what I think when I look at that part of me in the mirror. And that's delusional, because, one of the things, and we've had conversations about this before, where when you look in a mirror, you're seeing the actual reality of your body. But you have a self-image of your body. You have an idea of what your body looks like that you just have in and of yourself. Because you're inside your body. You can feel your body. And the way your body feels from the inside, you think you know what it looks like. And then you see it in the mirror and you see what it actually looks like. And it doesn't look like that. And it's just like, hands are so hard to draw. I mean, we've talked about hands for like a month. Hands are so hard to draw because it's so easy to tell when somebody has fucked them up. Because we know what hands look like. We see people's hands all the time, and we know what hands look like. And if you draw hands just a little bit wrong, it's like, yeah, that's wrong. That's off. I know something's off about those hands. And it's the same way with your body. You feel like your body looks a particular way because you're inside of it. You know what your body's shaped like. You know what your body looks like. And then you see it in the mirror and you're like, that's not what my body looks like. And you're comparing what you see in the mirror to what you feel that your body looks like. And what you see in the mirror is wrong. And you know it's wrong because what you feel is always right. What you feel about your body, what you think about your body, that preconception, that must be right because you're not a stupid person. That thing you see in the mirror, that's not you. It's not what you think of when you think of you. I'm constantly surprised. I see myself in the preview of this camera. And my hair's gray. It's almost white. there's not as much of it as there used to be. I mean, it's still as long as it was, but there used to be so much more of it. And the idea that my hair is thinning and that my hair has gone gray and that my beard has gone gray, these don't match my self-image. These aren't the things that I think of myself as being, because the picture of me in my head, the picture of me in my head is still me at 16, you know? So I'm constantly surprised that my body doesn't look like that anymore. My face doesn't look like that anymore. My hair doesn't look like it used to look. And it's very disconcerting. But I don't know. I didn't feel like I looked that great at 16, so it's not as distressing to me as I guess it is for other people. But I do see like the effects of age, and that hits me, and I go, wow, I haven't really. I'm old. I'm like actually old. When did that happen? How did that happen? Can I make that stop happening? And that's something that we all go through, is just like you look at the actual image of yourself on camera or in the mirror, and it's not the way that you think of yourself. It's not the way that you picture yourself, the way you think you ought to look. And because of that, it seems wrong, for the same reason that, as I said, hands look wrong if you get them just a little bit off in your picture. If your hands are just a little bit off, people are going to go, yeah, something's fucked up with that hand. Because we know what hands look like. We know that very well. And that sort of thing is what she's dealing with, kind of thinking about her body image. But when you go on top of that to other people who are looking at you and thinking things, I just got to thinking about, you know, the idea that you not only can't control what a person is thinking about you when they look at you, but you don't know what it is. That's kind of fucked up and creepy. And when I saw Monk's anxiety, which I should get a picture of that so I can show you all what it looks like. Let me go and look that up. I've been on Windows 11 for months, and I still try to go to my sidebar on the right side of the screen because that's where it belongs. I don't like it being on the bottom. Still kind of pissed off that I have to have it there. But Edvard Munch, anxiety, and there we go. And Munch, of course, had a way of doing colors. Hold on. It is that time of year. If you saw my Steam roundup for last year, you saw that in May my gaming just dropped to straight to zero, and it stayed there pretty much throughout June. And it wasn't until July that it started to pick up again, and a little more in August. And then in September, it really goes back to that gaming. And I had 10.5 acres out here. It's a lot of trouble to take care of that when summer rolls around. So there's a lot of mowing and a lot of weeding and a lot of trimming and just all kinds of stuff. But yeah, here's the picture. This is what I was thinking of when I kind of came up with this idea. But it's Munch, so we just want to trans. Okay. So this is the image that I was thinking of, was just kind of, it's this group of people that are just kind of staring at you, and his crowd is filling up a sort of. I always think of this as being a bridge. This is more or less the same thing that he did for the Scream. It's like if you look at his picture, the Scream, Let me back up here and see if we can't find. See if we can't find. There we go. If you look at his most famous painting, The Scream, you can see it's the same general sort of thing when you compare them side by side. If I put The Scream underneath of there, yeah, apply that. If I put that underneath, you can see that like you've got this railing that runs alongside both of them, and you've got off here. You've got this area, and you can see these look like boats out here, so it feels like this is kind of a stormy sea of sorts, and then you've got this fiery roiling sky up over top of it. And he does really great color work. But what I was thinking more in terms of is sort of this, take both of these and shift into reference. Move it up over the core image and hide it. Actually, let's just put that over top of it. So what I was thinking more in terms of was I was thinking of just these buildings, and I've completely fucked up the perspective on these windows. I need to do a better job of that. I'm just roughing stuff. Finished. I was thinking more in terms of like a kind of featureless, gray, urban sort of situation. There's a lot of nature in Monk's work, where he's out and about and in nature, because that's the kind of thing, I guess, that he used to go out and do, and then people would intrude on that. And I just kind of felt like this is something that worries people more, is like you leave your house and you've got this anonymity where nobody knows who you are and nobody cares what you're doing. But at the same time, you're walking close to all of these people that are out there in the street. And if those people take notice of you, what are they thinking? And what are they going to do about what they're thinking? And I would imagine that's much more frightening to women than it is to men. Because, there's that old saying, when a guy goes on a first date, the worst that can happen is he has a bad date. And when a girl goes on a first date, the worst that can happen is she ends up dismembered in a suitcase in a ditch. It's just a very different kind of risk that they're taking. But kind of what I was thinking here was the whole, and this bears on the online thing as well, because you have all of these people that are online and they're streaming, and they think about streaming to their audience. So their audience is these people over the internet. They're people that are out there, that are outside of their lives. But the whole parasocial thing where people get attached to you over the internet, and they want to meet you in person. They want to be around you. They want to be your actual friend. They think they already are your actual friend. Maybe they're on your Discord server and they think that they should come to your house. And people get these really creepy ideas and they don't know where the boundaries are. And the idea of being in a crowd of people where you have this kind of small group that is not respecting the boundaries, and then this large group out here that's just like, what do you mean they're not respecting the boundaries? That they have to. Those are the rules. So it's like you've got there's this whole Kitty Genovese thing going on, where it's like you have this threatening group of people. They haven't actually done anything, but their attention is on you, and then up here, you can see that on the one hand, in a lot of cases, nobody's home. There's no help for you in all of these places. And all these places that have somebody home, there's still no help for you because those are strangers. They don't know you. Even if you yelled for help, they would go, oh, well, there are people down there. One of those good people down there on the street will help. And that hits on a whole bunch of different things that I find really creepy and fucked up. They don't really scare me, per se. I don't find a whole lot of things frightening. I mean, especially in it like a violent sense or in a personal risk kind of sense. That doesn't worry me. It doesn't concern me because I grew up in the 70s. I grew up around violence as a child, and people were generally more violent, and I learned to more or less handle myself, and I basically walked through, God, I spent my teenage years in the DC area when it was the murder capital of the world. So it's like walking through a situation where I could be beaten or shot. That's not something that bothers me anymore. It's not something that concerns me. I've done that enough that I'm just like, if it happens, it happens. I can handle it as well as anyone can be expected to handle it, and everything that I can't handle, there's nothing I can do about it. So it doesn't really frighten me or concern me. But I know it frightens and concerns a lot of people because they don't have that experience. They don't have the background of being surrounded by violence and mistreatment and abuse and just people in general being nasty and wanting to hurt you. If you've never been around somebody that actively wanted to hurt you, that's really, really scary the first time it happens. The first time you realize that person wants to hurt me. That's really scary. The first time that happened to me was like 40 years ago. So, God, more than that. It was like 45 years ago. And so it's like, I've gotten used to it, but I do have all of those memories of back when I was a kid and back when that was like a new thing and I didn't know what to do or how to handle it. And I see a lot of people. One of the things that I really love about social media, and a lot of it's the kind of people that I follow, but I have a lot of mutuals on social media that are very kind of open and vulnerable about their feelings, about what worries them and what frightens them, and I really like that because that gives me a window into things that may not worry or frighten me at all. And I see a lot of people that are very concerned about if they're going to have a job in a couple of years, if they're going to have a place to live in a couple of years. And these are things that I don't need to worry about. So it's helpful to me to see that other people are worried about it because that tells me these are worries that other people have, these are fears other people have, and that kind of gets me in touch with them. Which is important because fundamentally the kind of stuff that I want to do a lot of psychological horror stuff. I need to know what psychologically horrifies people to make that work. And most of my psychological triggers in that area are around relationships, and by which I mean romantic relationships, which is why the visual novel series that I have planned later on down the road is basically visual novels about going out with lots of people that do not have your best interests in mind and are going to do bad things to you. And the core of that series is about trying to start a relationship and not being able to start it because other people outside of the relationship won't let you. And that's the horrible thing. It's the horrifying kind of peg on to to go for that horrifying feeling, and just the whole idea that I do very much kind of hit on the parasocial aspect where people imagine a relationship with and then behave as if the relationship they have imagined is real. Like if you've ever dated somebody that had a dream and got mad at you for what you did in the dream, it's like that kind of thing, but if it was everybody. It's just that bothers me. The idea that you're surrounded by crazy people that don't know the difference between reality and fantasy, imagination. People who think that what they made up in their head is actually true and actually happened. I see so much of that on. I see so much of people just like making stuff up and pretending it's true. And I'm just like, that's not true. You made that up. And then they want to argue with you. Say, I didn't make that up. You said that. No, this whole conversation is public. Anybody can look back at the conversation. You can look back at the conversation and see that I never said that. And why are you making shit up? It happens to me all the time. Somebody said it was Neil deGrasse Tyson. He said that every time you get angry at somebody online, somebody did that to you on purpose and they're making money from it. And I'm like, yeah, that's conspiracy theory horseshit. That's not how it works. Usually when I get in an argument, it's because somebody is stupid and has lost their shit about something I didn't say. And nobody makes any money off of that. Damn, it is 11:15. Why am I still blowing my nose constantly? Isn't the pollen out of the air yet? This is ridiculous. Yeah, I want to do something with I want to do something with these faces. Some kind. I want to have some kind of messed up. I want them to be suitably indistinct so that I want them to be indistinct enough that that you can read a lack of identity into them. But I want them to be distinct enough that they're disconcerting. I don't know. Those one kind of normal eye and one kind of fucked. Maybe very long faces. It's kind of the thing that I'm thinking with these people, sort of the iconic look that I'm going for here. If I do this in blue composition, I'm kind of thinking of dual kite shape. Kind of thinking of this kind of shape. People. And I find that particular shape, just that sort of diamond thing, I find that a a generally uncomfortable look for a person. And when I look at it, sometimes I just kind of go, is this a snout? Is that like a long snout that comes down? Or they'd have like this kind of animalistic shape. The face, maybe like dog faced people or something like that. Something along these lines. Badger. Or maybe it's like, maybe you're not entirely sure whether they're wearing masks. Or maybe they're wearing makeup of some sort, or they're definitely wearing masks, or they all have the same face. Where like I'd literally like draw one face and then take that one face and just kind of take that face there and kind of take that face and then move it around so everybody has the exact same face. Beside there. Copy and paste again. Here. One small. Literally just like make them all the same, but clearly on different people. Maybe that sort of thing. I don't know. I'm just kind of spitballing and thinking about it. And it all sort of revolves around me looking at things and going, I want to do more stuff that can actually be shared and not just stuff that gets worked on forever. Like if I go and I look at, I've got my Pecora piece and I need to finish that. And that's going to be a long time coming, you know. That's going to be a lot of work. There's a lot of detail that needs to go on there, and I want to do more stuff that actually gets put out there and I don't know, seen by people. And obviously, this is just roughed in, and it doesn't really. I mean, it kind of reads as a city street, but it's so featureless. And it's intentional that there are no doors, but I feel like people would look at that and go, "Oh, he didn't even give the buildings doors." And I don't know the idea that they're not supposed to have doors. I'm not sure how to get that across. Frustrated. I'm not putting art into the world that makes people feel the way I want them to feel when they look at my art. I'm not making the art that I want to make. I'm not making the statements that I want to make. I'm kind of wrestling with that and trying to figure out where I want to go with it and how I want to proceed. God, how long? 40 minutes. 40 minutes isn't bad. I'm gonna give this a little more time because I don't want to just like dump this and go, fuck it, I'm tired, I'm done, bye. I I want to come to some kind of conclusion, but there's such frustration at this point. It's just there's so much frustration going on over here right now because I'm not producing as much art as I want, and I'm not improving as fast as I want, and the art that I do produce isn't of the quality that I want, and it doesn't have the emotional content that I want. It doesn't. I mean, honestly, it doesn't even have the. It doesn't even have just the content that. It doesn't look the way I originally envisioned it. So it's like. And that's what art is. Art is when you take the thing that's in your head and you put it out on the canvas and you make things happen. And I'm making things happen, but they're not the things that I want to make happen. And I make things happen on the canvas, but when I put the canvas out in front of an audience, it doesn't make things happen for the audience. But my frustration isn't with the audience. The audience isn't obligated to feel what you want them to feel or to think what you want them to think or to say what you want them to say. And it's not their problem if they don't. It's yours. It's your problem as the artist. If your art doesn't make people say the things you want them to say and think the things you want them to think and feel the things you want them to feel, it's the wrong art. There's something in the execution that you missed if that's the situation. I'm not sure where I'm going to take this or if I'm going to take it much of anywhere. But I feel like we're getting closer to something I actually want to say, and there will be more of that stuff. There will be more art that is closer to what I want to say. It's closer to what I want to do. And I feel like it's important for me to say this out loud and to put it on display where people can see it, because if this reaches people and if this helps people, if you look at this and you go, hey, I feel this way, this is an excellent explanation of how I feel. And if you want to share that with somebody else that you think might be feeling the same way, or maybe they've told you they're feeling the same way. That's why I'm doing these utter garbage streams that suck for nobody. Like, nobody watches these. Nobody really cares about these. The audience is near zero, but the near part makes me want to keep going more than the zero part makes me want to quit. I'm not gonna quit. I've been doing this for a year and a half, and I have a larger audience now than I used to have. Not by much, but something. And a lot of this struggle, I think, is universal. I think there are a lot of people out there that are going through this struggle and they're like 15, 20 years old. And they don't have the perspective of half a century on this planet to help them see like where that fits in the scheme of things. Now, I've been successful at things before. If this is the only thing you've ever done, and this is the only thing you've ever been remotely successful at, you might feel like not making progress is the end of the world. I know it's not the end of the world. I'm good at a half dozen other things. I've been around a while. But if you haven't been around a while, it might feel like the end of the world. It might feel like you're never going to be good at the thing that you want to be good at. And who knows? Maybe you won't ever be good at the thing you want to be good at. But you can keep trying. I might never be good at it. I'm certainly taking a lot longer to get good at it than I've ever taken to get good at anything before in my life. This is one of the tiny few things I've really buckled in and pushed on that I wasn't just immediately good at. And that is tremendously frustrating, especially at my age. But I figure young people in particular, seeing somebody say, it takes a long time and you have to keep going, and the person saying it is actually going through that struggle, it rings hollow, you know? You see somebody who's a professional concept artist talking about, hey, I used to be bad at this too. Well, where's your evidence that you used to be bad at this? Do you have some of your bad art that you can show? No? I don't believe you ever did bad art. I think you've always been good at this, and you're just saying that you used to be bad at it because that's what you have to say. That's what you say to young people. Hey, I was bad at it too. I was never that bad, but I was bad at it once. No, I'm actually bad at it. I'm actually not very good at this. And I want that out there where people can see it. To prove that you can start out bad at it and you can get good. I'm hoping I get good. Maybe I never do. But I'm going to keep plugging at it. And when I do get good, pretty sure I will, I'll be able to point back at stuff when I sucked. And that'll be there. I feel like that's really, really missing. I don't feel like anybody else is really able to point back and go, look at how terrible I used to be. You know, I actually do know somebody. Holly Brown has pointed back at some of her old art and said, oh my God, I used to be so bad at this. And she's shown pictures, and there really has been like a dramatic quantum leap in ability from her old stuff, which is still better than my stuff, and her new stuff that is just like far and away better than anything I've done. But Holly Brown does a good job of that. She has actually said, you know, here's when I wasn't very good, and yeah, you weren't very good, and here's now that I'm actually a professional and I do this for a living. Oh wow, you know, yeah, that is professional quality, and you should be doing this. So she's done a good job on that. But I can't think of anybody. At least not successful. Not somebody that has shown me, here's where I am now and here's where I used to be and see how bad I used to be. I can't think of anybody else who said, see how bad I used to be, and I looked at it and went, damn, yeah, that's bad. But yeah, Holly actually has shown real growth, and she's shown the real cringy stuff from her old sketchbooks and gone, oh my god, I feel bad just admitting this exists. And that's tremendously inspirational. Yeah, I really like Holly Brown. She's a good artist, good person. I just joined her Discord server earlier today. Not very active there, but you know, I hang around there, look around a little bit. I don't know. Stay. I'm not always certain about new communities that I go into because I'm old, and when you're old, you find that you're not welcome in a lot of places. But yeah, anyway, you don't care about it. That's pretty much everything I have to talk about tonight. Anyway, me being angsty and worrying about stuff. A Let me save this as crowd 2. I have a previous effort at the same image. But yeah, that'll be that. So once again, do the little YouTube dance, like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell icon, all of that shit. Share it with your friends. Put it out on Twitter, or probably on Blue Sky because Twitter is garbage now. I don't have a Blue Sky invite. If you have a Blue Sky invite, send me one. It's where all the cool people are hanging out now, and I don't have my invite yet. But yeah, that'll be it for this stream. So okay, bye.